Oi, mate.
You alright? How's it going?
That's right, mate.
I'm just thinking of all
That's
those all those British fucking videos and stuff that used to trigger the fuck out of me when I was when I was a bit younger. But
yeah, yeah. Well, listen, we got to do something about these unguarded synagogues. I know that has nothing to do with a British accent. The only reason I say that is it's on my mind so heavily. These synagogues, they need us to stand outside and guard them all day.
yeah, they seem to have a real big problem
That's what I've been
with
thinking about all
security
day.
at those places. Seems to be
Yeah,
quite a dangerous place to be around. Like,
I'm not going to stand for it anymore. I, for one,
I don't think you
I'm going to do
should.
my part. I'm going to do my part to fix this problem.
Sam, I'm glad you are. I'm glad you're taking a stand against this because it's been plaguing my mind for a while now.
Listen, I don't think I can. I don't think I can talk about this. Are you rolling yet?
Yeah,
Okay, look.
I started.
I don't listen. I know you got to record this interview. You got to, you got to fill the airwaves with some content. I don't know
Sure.
if I'm going to be able to oblige you though, man. I don't know if I can do this interview because that the synagogue shooting has me. Hold on a second. I need a minute. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you
I
take your
don't know.
time.
I don't know if I can concentrate, man. I got.
I know it's
I
tough,
got.
man. You take as much time as you need.
All right. You know what? The only thing that's going to keep me going is I know that those Jewish people, they would have wanted me to finish this interview. That's the only thing that's going to keep me going.
All right,
Yeah,
excellent.
listen,
Thank you,
they'll
Sam.
live on through me. How's that?
Perfect, perfect. I think
Okay,
that's what they
cool.
wanted all along. So
I think it is. So in a way, it's almost a good thing.
yeah, it's a circle of life, really. If you think about it, it's kind of like they continue through you, through your voice,
I agree.
through your energy.
I agree.
So,
The documentary you did is a bang up job, man. I can tell you put a lot of work into it. So
oh, thanks, Sam. I appreciate that.
whatever else
Like,
you need, let's do it.
yeah, a couple of people said it's a little bit of a kind of like because the other ones I did were kind of like hit jobs, like really stupidly biased, like purposely biased hit jobs kind of things, just because like
Mhm.
I didn't really like the people. But like with MD, I just wanted to do something where I didn't feel like a piece of shit for once. So I was like, yeah,
Well,
I love
I really
MD.
appreciate it, man. There's nobody who's really kind of taken the whole backstory and kind of encapsulated it in one video, and definitely not as well as you have. So I appreciate it. I know the fans. I saw you got a lot of good comments. So I know everyone else really appreciates it too. So thanks, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I mean, I know it's like cliche, but it was a work of passion or whatever the phrase is. But no, I was really happy to do it. In fact, it kind of like I was doing it and like it got me to go through all the old shit again from the beginning, and it kind of like made me be a fan again of it, like in a weird way, because it's kind of like
Yeah,
so
there's a lot of classic laughs to be had.
yeah, some real mirth. So my first question is Joe Bernstein's notorious BuzzFeed hit piece on world peace bizarrely claims how the alt-right has its own TV show on Adult Swim. So looking back at this interview that you gave, Joe, do you think that anything you could have said or done might have changed the events a little?
I don't think so. I think BuzzFeed had it out for Adult Swim for years before we came around. I know they were making these articles about how, Adult Swim doesn't employ enough women, and that's kind of what BuzzFeed likes to do for the sort of the stuff that's on the fringes of the mainstream, like gaming type stuff and this comedy type stuff. They like to make sure that the stuff on the fringes is as in line with the message as the mainstream stuff is. So I think it made sense to target us because we were a weak link from that in that perspective. Like we're white guys who are not talking about how much we like it. Just so we were like white guys who were talking about stuff that's not cuck type shit.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why we're sort of a prime target for that.
What I felt as well that the article kind of formed this like mob outrage, but did you guys like see this coming? Like, or how aware were you of the severity of what was happening with the articles and with the negative press about the show?
We were aware that we were gonna deal with some flack just based on the heaviness of what we shot. I mean, especially the "Thank You White People" sketch that never aired on TV. If it had, it probably would have made someone's head explode. But we were aware that something was going on. I mean, we didn't. I think the thing that was interesting was how the backlash was both it was both like underwhelming and like very effective. Underwhelming in the sense that like it wasn't organic. It was like a bunch of like Jewy New York City blogger type people who were kind of like circulating this like prescription for getting us off the air, circulating that around amongst themselves. But there was no like organic response. Like the Bernstein's Twitter, like when he tweeted the article, it got like 20 likes. Like it didn't even get like it barely had any traction with like real people. And the way that they got us taken off was that they basically complained up the food chain at Adult Swim and then up at Turner, which is the company that owns Adult Swim, until they finally were emailing Jeff Zucker, the guy in charge of Turner. And these media executives, you know, they get these emails from people who are they've got like a credential signature like at the bottom of their email, like journalists for BuzzFeed Media, and they think it's like the end of the world because they don't understand that like this shit gets no traction unless they like allow it to. And that's what they did, is they freaked out, and they basically they gave BuzzFeed and others like BuzzFeed all the power by like bending the knee and doing what they were asking and taking the show down.
I think the energized nature of BuzzFeed and Salon and a couple of these ones where they were just pumping out so many articles that like they just went under the radar, and something like this would have absolutely just been buried within days, really. So it's just like they saw media in the signature and just freaked the fuck out. It's really
it's a shame. I mean, that's what I fucking told Mike Lazo on the phone. I was like, you know, begging him to fucking listen to reason. I was like, dude, just fucking grow some balls for like 2 days and like wait this out. It'll be gone, I promise you. And it was just, you know, they weren't having it. They wanted it to stop right then and there.
So when was the last time you spoke to Mike Lazo, by the way?
The last time I spoke to him was before the cancellation, when he was telling me that I needed to pull my Reddit subreddit community off, or like, you know, get rid of the subreddit community. Wow, unbelievable. Yeah, he didn't ask me to pull the subreddit, but he was complaining about the type of people who go on the subreddit, and what he was asking for more or less amounted to totally shutting it down. It wasn't like
it's kind of like unsaid kind of thing.
Right.
That's crazy. I mean, that's what. What was your reaction to that? Were you just like, no, the fuck, no chance kind of thing? Or
I just was imploring him to sit on his hands and not be a spastic cokehead faggot for like 10 fucking minutes and just wait it out. But so
did you get along really well with Mike?
No, I didn't talk to him too much. I mean, he's kind of an opaque guy. He's one of those guys where I could imagine that if you talk to him, enough times, you'd think you were close to him or something. But I don't. Not, and I'm not saying this is like a negative character trait or something. It's just I don't think the chill Southern stoner guy is the real persona of the media executive. You know, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I think
he's
probably
just,
a little. I'm not saying he's a disingenuous or like shitty person. I'm just saying it's probably a little deeper than that. The quality and the pointedness and the coolness of Adult Swim or Cartoon Network has like, it's not at all what it used to be. Now it's like Black Jesus and like Fobbity Dobbity show. It's like, I would probably be doing coke all day and like trying to fuck my assistant also.
You're an executive there, yeah.
I was running that shit.
So, despite your show sometimes operating in the cultural sphere, you definitely see like different standards for shows like yours. Despite like political comedy, not that your show is political, but I mean political comedy is rife right now. So, why do you think that is? Why do you think that there's different standards for you guys?
I mean, well, because we're white, we're kind of like already going to be under this magnifying glass of like, are you falling in line with the expected behavior? Are you appropriately apologetic? Are you like, do you aspire to have children one day, or do you want to raise a baby Chihuahua and have like your Nintendo Switch be your the thing that you hold at night? It's like you're a white male. You're gonna have to like do double the amount of work to show that you're like a fag and you want free fucking healthcare. Like you gotta jump through double hoops to like show how down you are with Bernie or whatever.
So next question. Do you think, as far as motive is concerned, I think it's pretty self-evident what the reason was, but I'd like you to elaborate a little, if you could, about like what would be your thoughts on the direct motive, and what do you know about Joe Bernstein as a person that indicated why he'd pick on you guys so what?
The thing about Bernstein is Bernstein never bothered me, and he doesn't bother me, and the fact that he like successfully torpedoed my like TV show that I'd been working towards for 10 years, like I don't hold that against him personally, because he's an outsider, like he's an enemy. He's fucking he's supposed to be on the outskirts of the soldier encampment, and we're supposed to shoot arrows at his tribe. And like the fact that he's allowed the fact that like Mike Lazo allowed this guy to grab his balls and yank them off, like I can't be mad at Bernstein for that. You know what I mean? It's like the fact that we don't that a lot of the time white people don't have an immune system, like white people don't have the like ability or desire to identify these enemy threats and like deal with them properly. Like that's not the enemy. That's not your enemy's fault. You know what I mean? It's not like Bernstein's he's a Jewish media operative, and he does what you'd expect a Jewish media operative to do. And I'm not saying like, look, I'm not saying I hate Jews. I'm not saying I hate anyone. It's just like, what do you expect from this guy? It's his. Yeah. He's a in his biography or whatever on his About Me page, he brags about being a Nazi hunter. Like this is a guy. This is a guy who's coming for your society. And what am I gonna be mad that he's doing what I'd expect him to do? I'm mad at the fucking people who didn't like help me with the defenses there.
Yeah, the people that are so riddled with white guilt that they capitulate at every single step.
Right. And it's like it would be so easy to defend against this shit. It would just be like all you'd have to say is like shut the fuck up. Like someone in a position of power, just say shut the fuck up, and these people they become powerless. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean we've seen that since Trump. The best example is the Kavanaugh thing. To see and whatever you think about Kavanaugh, like to see that as a mirror of yours. I did see that as a little of a mirror of your situation. If Lazo had balls, it was like, so you're looking at Kavanaugh and then you're looking at like Lindsey Graham and you're thinking if only that was Mike Lazo at that time, like if only he had the same kind of balls that Lindsey Graham had or something. It's maddening that someone so insignificant in journalistic standards and in the media environment as Bernstein is. I mean that piece, like I said, it would have been buried within days. Mm-hmm. And
did Trump call a woman ugly, one of Kavanaugh's accusers?
Yeah, I think he did.
He said something really insensitive and really funny. And when I heard it, I was like, man, that's the perfect way to deal with this.
It was the fucking Ford woman, and
God, that woman is so she's so beat.
Oh, she's disgusting. God. She's unrapeable. Like I don't know where the arguments come from. Like there is literally like you just like the evidence is her fucking face. Like it's just not gonna happen. That like I don't care how fucking drunk you are at a keg party. That's just never gonna fucking happen. He said something like, I think in a tweet he just flat out called her a liar, which is fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
But no, it was. Like, I was hanging with a couple of guys on Discord when it all broke down, and we had this fat fucking Michigan liberal faggot friend who was fucking enraged for the whole thing, and it was just it was a really fun night. It was like living through the election night again. It's pretty funny. But yeah, like Bernstein tweeted those the white people tweet he put out, kill a white man on your way to work tomorrow, and then being a Jew means never having to say sorry you're white. I mean, whether they're jokes, whether they're not, like it's kind of like pretty clear that the kind of agenda that he's treading a little.
Yeah. Well, that's something we got to shove like in the white people who suffer from white guilt and like are the reason why this behavior is allowed to happen. Like we gotta, I don't know. I think part of it is we have to fucking shove that in their faces and like make it clear that like, dude, these people like they want you dead. They want your bloodline ended. They want your like genetic. They want it's like genetic warfare. They want your tribe gone. Like that's unacceptable.
I might be wrong because it seems that any attempt to interpret an MDE sketch gets met with about 8 different opinions. But the Dear White People sketch, I saw that. I mean, it's an easy take to get from it, but pushing the boulder up the hill, the progression of Western civilization, and then the distraction, the Jew there, and suddenly Boulder's gone. It's kind of like their interference with the progression of Western civilization, and like I saw a lot of things from that about that sketch, and that's why I love that. I kind of knew it was never going to get aired, but I really do wish it went around somewhere because it was a kind of a little favorite of mine.
Man, the funny thing is that sketch almost did get aired. The reason it got pulled is because right at the last minute, someone at Turner found a Reddit post by me talking about just basically talking about this stuff in an uncomedic way. Oh. And she was like, that sketch has got to go. But that sketch almost made it onto TV, which is really funny. And the executive, the guy at Adult Swim, this guy Walter Newman, who's he's a cool guy. He's this black guy. And he's like clueless. Like it's so funny. Like he couldn't, his sense of humor. I think he's one of the guys that was like involved with, or I think he was involved with Loiter Squad in some way, which is like it's like a really unfunny
I've seen
show.
that,
And it's like this guy's sense of humor is like, I've never gotten a laugh out of him. I think I'd have to start talking about the NBA or something to get a laugh out of this guy. But he's like, we were talking about the Thank You White People sketch, which is like the most blatantly racist thing I've ever made. And like, I can't imagine anyone like looking at this and with any sort of attention and allowing it to go on television. And he's just like, yeah, man, it's it's a funny sketch, man. Yeah.
I love the black guy you chose for it. He's like, pencil? It's the funniest shit.
The guy was out to lunch. I think he was reading off a piece of paper and he was barely able to do that, man.
Who came up with the things for him to read? But I know you got, but like, it was the most bizarre like, amalgamation of just like...
I asked people on Facebook what are the best things that white people have invented. And then I just used that as the list there.
Oh, okay. It was like you said before about the fact that if this was aired like 10 years ago, that would have flew. Yeah. That would have definitely flew, like no problem. So moving on to, I'd probably like to go over to Brett Gelman because we've kind of talked about the articles a little, and obviously they're the biggest drivers for why it was cancelled. I think it was like you said that the articles were very small in nature but very targeted, very precise, very kind of like almost sniper like to the point of like they did exactly what they I guess what they were supposed to do. But on the Brett Gelman side, he called the show like a toxic thing, and I think he was quoted saying it's totally a neo-Nazi sketch show with a neo-Nazi following. So how do you describe the MD fan base compared to his description?
I mean, it's probably accurate. That's probably right. Yeah, sounds about right.
You think so? Neo-Nazi sketch show, neo-Nazi following.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's what.
What is a neo-Nazi sketch show?
If you go by the subreddit, it seems like our fans are pretty dialed in.
How do you feel about that though? Is that the direction you were interested in, or is it something that you just saw in the corner and was like, look, they're doing their thing. It's not really the show.
It's not really any of my business. I mean, my calling in life is to create shit. It's not. I'm not washing my hands of responsibility for it. I understand that by having this fan base, it means that I have to get kicked off TV, etc. That's fine. I'm not going to complain about that. But like my whole thing is I kind of want there are a lot of aspects to this where I want to be ignorant for the purpose of creating things that are pure.
Right.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be like Ben Shapiro. I don't want to be like some. I don't want to be like a attempt to be a thought leader or
Yeah,
a
yeah.
fucking amateur politician.
You don't fancy
or
being part of the
any of these
intellectual
things.
dark web.
I got a limited time lifespan here, and I want to make funny shit that stands the test of time. That's what my goal is, and that's what my goal has been this whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's even objectively speaking, the show's not political at all. It literally, you could argue. I think there was the teacher sketch where Charles is miming "Vote Trump" at the end of the song, but I mean that's as far as it ever went, and that was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek kind of like funny kind of little joke as part of that sketch. So yeah, I mean it's not a political show at all, and I'm very much against the acts of the following being part of the responsibility of the creator. I think that's a weak argument personally. So from what I've seen, you talking about Brett Gelman, you more talk about his ideas and about his skill and acumen as a creator for Adult Swim. So how do you think he was received at Adult Swim, and what do you make of his content?
Yeah, I mean it doesn't matter to me that he's Jewish. I know a lot of Jewish people who are funny. He's not funny. He's never been funny. He's never said anything funny. And the executives at Adult Swim know that as well. Like his name makes them fucking cringe. He was pitching them. He was continuing to pitch them after we had been canceled. So his leaving the network has nothing to do with our being canceled. It's entirely because the executives they look at that thing he did, that dinner in America or whatever, and they do not understand it. They don't think it's funny. They think it's like cringe inducing. They basically gave him that opportunity to help him out because he's been putting in dues for over a decade. He's Tim Heidecker's buddy, and they figured, you know what, what's it going to cost us to make some show? Nobody watches these other shows. Who gives a fuck? Go ahead, let him make a few episodes of Dinner in America. But he was pitching. I know specifically that he was pitching them after we left, because when I talked to Walter Newman, he mentioned to me that they were looking for female creators, and then he mentioned to me that Brett Gelman brought his ugly black wife in to pitch some unfunny shit. And that's when he was basically saying that they would hire any woman that's got anything marginally funny, but the problem is none of them do.
Yeah,
Gelman is he's a fucking slut, and when he realized that he wasn't going to be able to make any more shows for Adult Swim, he decided to use that to get some attention, some sympathy for himself, and make it seem like he's a fucking hero. But he's an asswipe.
Yeah, I like the he'd do anything for $40,000 check line.
Yeah,
but I mean, I saw Dinner in America as part of the unfortunate side of research for this thing, and I didn't feel good watching it. Like you said, cringe-inducing. It felt very much like that.
It makes me want to cut myself. Like, and I would still feel that way if I was like left leaning, like if I was a liberal, I would want to cut myself when I watch that thing. This is like a thing in comedy. Who's that guy? You know who Rich Voss is? Yes,
very well. I'm an O&A guy, so
these comedians who like they put in their dues. Like Brett Gelman's been in Los Angeles for like 15 years, like licking boots and crawling around and like picking up ashtrays and calling people sir. Like he's been doing that for 15 years. And there's this thing in comedy. It's like a bad thing where like you don't have to be funny. You can just be like a guy that headbutts the wall for a decade, and then you'll get somewhere. It's like Rich Voss. A lot of comedians from like the 90s. That's how they made their money, is by like just fucking working their way up the mailroom instead of actually having talent. But Brett Gelman's one of those guys, and I guess when it turned south for him, he decided to get some attention and make a big stand.
No, definitely. He said at one point, I think, that He said that he didn't want to be part of a business that gives opportunities to a voice, opportunities and a voice to people who are amassing a hate following online. So he's essentially deplatforming creative output based on who follows them. And I mentioned that before about the dangerous precedent that sets for comedy and probably externally as well. So how dangerous a precedent do you think that is?
I mean, it's one of the most insidious things is the self-censorship shit. Like you read sometimes the headlines for these surveys where they ask young people if they would prefer free speech, or like if they would prefer limitations on speech to prevent people from being hateful. And it's like these like big majorities of people would like to volunteer to live in like 1984 type society. Yeah. And it's like
also known as Britain.
People are just cows, man. They're fucking cattle. I don't know what else to say about it.
No, you're right. It's really weird. I never saw this phenomenon beforehand, but since the whole Trumpy thing, or whether you want to call it that way, you want to say it's like a Brexit thing for us guys, but it's just the malleability of people's ideologies is like, it's dumbfounding to me. It's like being a British guy and hearing the Remain side of the Brexit argument being so easily like transcended to the minds of the mass population, to the point of like we're having these kinds of like protests that are similar to like Trump ones, where these people are like incensed with anger and rage about something they know nothing about. And so it's just you are really right about the cattle mentality of a general populace. And it's disheartening because you meet people, you talk to people in your own life, and you think, yeah, society's smarter than what they give credit for, but clearly it's not.
Yeah, I used to be real mad about like Illuminati, the powers that be, conspiracy type stuff, and now I'm just like, maybe these people do need microchips in their fucking foreheads. Like, you need a barcode tattooed on you, buddy.
It's like liberating a wasp nest or something. It's like they're just going to fly around and do their own thing. It's like, it's pointless. They're not like capable of individual thought. So I'd say that the way people have weaponized language to enact ideological strategy has been like definitely more effective. You think of like Nazi, anti-Semite, white supremacist, these labels that once very specific and only used in extreme uses to highlight actual human atrocities, now they're just used blanketly. So how do you feel about the use of language nowadays, and how that sort of affected your show and the sort of like messages you wanted to say?
Well, I mean, the one thing that's interesting about it is that it's like this is why memes are so effective, and that's why like the whole thing about 2016, like that energy was so cool and so novel. It's because our side is adapting to like that style of fight.
Exactly, yeah. And we're doing it far better. I mean, it's definitely like they're much better at getting those ideas and putting them out into the minds of everyone, really. Like the NPC memes are a really good example of how quickly that went everywhere. It went from zero to like everywhere, like immediately.
The memes are key, and it's a David and Goliath type fight, and we just have to be funnier.
Yeah. Well, I think we're winning. So if World Peace is anything to go by, I'd say that's definitely working. But given the myopic nature of comedy's political ideology, Brett Gelman described your show as problematic and something that mobilizes propaganda. So with the current political comedy obsession, the Colberts, the Seth Meyers, all that kind of nonsense, like, how fair an assessment is it that you guys are the ones mobilizing propaganda?
Well, I mean, it's fair for him to complain about it, because the whole like one of the driving ideas behind the show is to sort of counteract that what I see as the shutting down of ideas and conversation. Right. Simply by offering like a strong, non-apologetic counterpoint to it. And so from his perspective, I mean, it's fair to make a criticism, because he's part of this this side that wants to very narrowly direct people's collective sort of ideology in the way that they want that to go. So it makes sense that he's complaining about it. I don't think he's. What was it that he said that it's
He said it's
mobilizing propaganda?
Yeah, he said it's problematic. That phrase they like to use, and that it's mobilizing propaganda. Which
Well, it's propagandist in the same way that like taking a double portion of rice in communist China is like problematic. It's problematic for the people who are the people who seek to control the fucking masses. I think it's problematic in that sense.
So another alleged reason for Gelman's resignation was Mike Lazo's comments on women, saying that they don't tend to like conflict. I think he said also that it's something about conflict, not comedy, or something. Gelman adds to this, and he claims that how female friends couldn't really get in the door at Adult Swim. With this in mind, do you see that Gelman's motives in some part influenced by virtue and self-interest, and if so, how?
Listen, the thing I got to reiterate about Brett Gelman is that he would suck Satan's cock to be Jesse Eisenberg for 24 hours. He's a fame whore. He's an attention whore. He wants to be somebody. He has no talent. He has no skill. The only thing he can do is whine and like semi-effectively mobilize a Twitter boycott of something for a short period of time. The black executive who worked on our show, Walter Newman, we had a talk about this, like I said before, where he was more or less explaining to me that any female who's reasonably funny and a good writer would be hired. He was basically like, dude, we are begging for female talent right now. We have this public perception like women are not funny, that we don't think women are funny. We want female writers. If you have any, send them to us. And I've personally helped out female friends of mine, like develop pitch packages and send their shit along to Adult Swim. Any woman listening to this right now, if you're sort of funny and you're a good writer, you can at the very least sell a script to Adult Swim. I can almost guarantee it. If you've got over 100 IQ and sort of a sense of humor and you put together a script, you can sell it to Adult Swim for $5,000 probably right now. I wouldn't be surprised if they just handed out like pilots to women who were sending them in. The problem at the end of the day is the same problem that Brett Gelman's pig ugly horse-gummed wife has. And this is the conversation. I had a conversation with Mike Lazo about this, and that's that women are not funny. The ones that are funny are like fucked up weirdo dykes, and they're so tragically unfunny. It's like watching a car wreck to watch these women do stand-up. Okay, they all talk about the same thing. Inevitably, their vaginas and their sex habits and their fucking drug drinking habits. Like the typical female stand-up act is, my monostat stopped working. Oh, my pussy smells so bad. Oh, I was puking on my dad's dick. I fucked 80 guys. I got a yeast infection every day at college. Oh, I'm drunk again. I'm such a whore. Like you go to an open mic and every female that takes the stage is going to talk about how like they masturbate in their dad's bed, or they fell down once and landed with something in their pussy or whatever. Like I've seen this. You go to open mic nights and you see this every time. It's all women talk about it, and this should be outlawed. They shouldn't be allowed to do this. They should be sent to prison. It should be a fucking. We got to go back to the days of where we lock these women up and call them witches. Okay, that's what I'm telling. Listen, at one point, my dream is to have a special police force going around and putting burlap bags over these women's heads at comedy clubs, and then beating them in the stomach with nightsticks until they, fucking agree to stop doing it. I don't know what else to say. They're not funny.
It's crazy though that
yeah.
Adult Swim, like you'd think that meritocracy at some point would kick in, that they would have some kind of concern for their self-preservation. If they're perpetually bringing women on board that are not creating good material that's not enjoyed by people, it's kind of a catch-22 situation for them. It's like, how do they wrestle that internally? How do they say, okay, well we've got to bring women in, but if we bring women in, our content's going to suffer. So I mean, it's toss one coin or the other, really. It's like, how do you think they wrestle with that kind of idea?
I don't know what Lazo is thinking, because it's so clear. Like when you set foot in the office, it's so clear what the problems are and like where where this whole thing is going if he continues to run it this way and hire these women who are gonna complain about him leaving the phone in the bathroom and whatnot. Like, you got to realize that he's sort of digging his own grave, and I don't know how he deals with it. I imagine he just doesn't care. I mean, that's what my guess is.
Yeah, he's just at this point just putting his time in and just kind of hoping it all blows over, I guess.
Which is fine. I mean, he did it. He made a great TV channel. He had his glory days. I guess you're entitled to not give a shit and take a paycheck after a while, I think. I don't know. And
also, this shit might have taken him by complete surprise to some degree as well. I mean, it must be kind of difficult to manage that kind of situation as a senior. It doesn't seem like there's a way to win.
Yeah, there's definitely an aspect to it where he's kind of like a boomer in a lot of ways. Like there are certain important things that he just doesn't get and could not get because of how old he is and how sort of accustomed to this traditional media stuff.
Yeah, it reminds me of the one of my favorite of your stand-ups. The woman that's the one that looks like Howard Stern that you kept shouting, "Making me a sandwich" to. She freaked the fuck out. Did you see her outside afterwards, or like did that kind of die down?
That didn't go anywhere else, but I wish it did.
Oh, it's so fucking funny, because the funny thing is, like, your sketch killed. Like, you finished with the beating a wife's scene.
It's a shame I didn't get to try out my Taekwondo moves on her. I really.
Someone commented that on the video. I think, like, they said something like your reflexes at grabbing her arm that quickly was like insane. Like, you didn't even see it happen. It was just like all of a sudden you fucking had her restrained.
This is what I tell people. Listen, I'm like a slow guy. Okay, I'm 270 pounds. I don't talk fast. I don't move quickly. Okay, you might think that I'm asleep at the wheel over here. Let me tell you, if a woman gives me an excuse to, in any sense of the word, physically do anything, I'd be like, I am like lightning. I'm like fucking lightning. Oh my god, this is true. This is actually true. Listen, I'm not one of these guys. I'm not bragging about physical prowess or anything. I'm not like a fucking high school martial artist. Listen, if there's ever a chance for me to legally do something to a woman, it's done a minute before it even happened. It's like fucking like a cheetah. It's not even a cheetah. It's like a jaguar in the fucking Amazon going after a crocodile. I'm like fucking lightning, man. We had and when we were in Atlanta, Nick met this girl who was an Uber driver who sold him weed. Like, she was the complete package, like, piece of shit, like modern urban college free love type chick. She was an Uber driver to make money. She sold weed. She was an aspiring actress. She had like a Vine account with like 12,000 followers or something. And she was dating a black guy. And she came over to smoke weed. And I said something like, I said something really innocuous and really like not even racist, just like, she was explaining to me how black people and Hispanics in the rich parts of Los Angeles they just acted white, and that meant that everyone's equal. And so I said, oh, so that's your solution to everything? You just want to whitewash everyone and make everyone white? And she got so mad at that she came over and tried to kick me in the face.
What?
And like a real big leg swing, like soccer kick to the face. And
you're like 6'4" or something stupid.
I was up out of my seat in a split fucking second, and I had her ankle in my hand, and she was on the fucking ground so fast. It was so awesome. I love reliving that. But yeah, that's basically my whole deal is if I ever get a chance to legally beat on women, it's going down.
Nice.
And it's going down quickly and viciously.
Quickly and effectively.
Yes, effectively.
You're constantly battle ready for that kind of situation.
I'm like the U.S. military.
You're like a trained Marine against fucking women.
Special Ops Marine.
So is there a future for shows like World Peace on networks like Adult Swim? And to elaborate on this, do you think the tone on Adult Swim was generally in your favor amongst executives, or was it just like kind of, we've got to do this?
Well, the executives loved it, which was heartening. Lazo said we were going to shoot 100 more episodes. Walter Newman liked it a lot. He was proud of it, even though most of the humor was kind of, we didn't make enough jokes about who's the fucking fat DJ Khaled. Khaled and the Charlotte Hornets. Like that's Walter Newman's sense of humor.
That's his bag.
Black guy stuff, but he was proud of it. Mark Costa, one of the executives, liked it a lot.
Keith Crawford, Jewish guy, wasn't it?
Yeah, Keith Crawford loved it. Keith Crawford was always showing his face and letting it be known that he was happy with the show. So it wasn't a problem with the executives. One of the interesting problems we had was with the younger people at Adult Swim.
Right.
So for example, the media, like the marketing team, they really did not like us. And their first sort of shot across the bow? Is that what
I think shot across the bow.
Well, whatever it is, the shot across my cock. The first one of those that they did was they did a web banner that said "World Peace is racist, hateful."
What?
And takes no prisoners or something. They did this. They made this ad that was like, it was sort of like they made it. They like bragged about how edgy we are. Like they went overboard. Like talking about how edgy the show is to like just to be a little sarcastic and make a little zinger at us. Yeah. And then there was this whole series of emails back and forth where I was trying to get control of the marketing. Like I wanted to be in charge of the copy and the graphic design of the billboards and everything.
Right.
And there was a point in this chain of emails where the guy was just like, "Well, it really sounds like you'd be better off doing this yourself." And we got like the opposite of cooperation from them basically, and that's why there were no World Peace billboards, was because they sort of intentionally dropped the ball.
Well, they were trying to sabotage it in a weird way.
They didn't like us. Yeah, they sabotaged us. We had this one biatch, Valentina Tapia from Atlanta, Georgia. She's in a band called Shanti Shanti. She's the one that Mike Lazo gave an executive position to try to bang her. She had no credentials, no sense of humor, no brains, no nothing. She was just a dumb broad that was modestly good looking. And Lazo gave her an executive job, like a position you'd work for 10 years, to her to try to fuck her, I guess. And she repaid him by trying to break into our edit suite to delete our shit.
What?
We came in one morning and the doorknob was like comically busted. Like if you gave a screwdriver to a retard and told him to get tell him that there's a box of cookies in the room and you have to break in to get it. Like the doorknob, it was such a pathetic attempt at breaking in.
Yeah.
Like it was. There was something so pathetic and hopeless about this attempt to break in, but she had tried to bust down the door to our edit suite so that she could delete all of our footage, so that she could destroy the $1 million investment that Adult Swim made.
Oh my
like she
God.
was trying to. I don't even know if the footage was backed up. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. I wouldn't be surprised if the only place where the footage was in that room. So she could very well have taken the $1 million investment of Adult Swim and thrown it down the toilet. Had she spent another 10 minutes on that door handle instead of getting pissed off and getting drunk somewhere. But the funny part is that there were cameras like placed obviously. Like there's no way you could have not seen that there's cameras in the fucking hallways. And so she got fired.
Oh my God. Like, I mean, obviously she's in that dumbass fucking sounding band. I guess ultra progressive. Was it all a massive principled kind of like, I don't give a fuck, I'm going to do this in the name of activism, in the name of
her latest endeavor, now that she's been fired from her executive position at Adult Swim, her latest move has been to create a safe space for gay and queer skateboarders in Atlanta. And I've heard that what she and like 3 dykes do is they just go to a skate park and they tell straight guys that they're not allowed to be there on like Tuesday nights or something. It's called like Queer Skate Jam or something like that in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like a bunch of like a small handful of dykes bullying skateboarders out of their space so that she can do like kick flips.
Yeah, I had no idea there was such a plague of homophobia in the skateboarding in the fucking world.
Yeah,
it seems like such a ridiculous place to take your political ideology to a skate park. These kids don't give a fuck.
Well, I mean, if you're a fucking trans gamer, I mean, a trans skateboarder, you got to do what you got to do, I guess.
Yeah, man, you can't. It's tough on the streets of fucking Tony Hawk's.
Yeah.
So, do you think? Let's go for a bit on Tim.
I also have to say that I fingered her and she blew me.
What?
That girl. Anyway,
really?
Continue. Go ahead. Continue. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to just gloss that over that though. Like, what was the circumstances?
It was just, circumstances were circumstances, but shit happens.
Yeah, gentleman never tells. But
her pussy hairs were like 4 inches long.
Oh man, yeah. I think we've just said goodbye to Lazo's to the chance of Lazo ever fucking picking it up again.
He probably. Yeah. I bet if he heard this part, he'd probably laugh.
Tim Hyde, he gave his thoughts on Brett's decision. He offered like love and respect to his friend for and like affirming his push for developing shows for women and stuff. As an influential contributor to Adult Swim, how damaging was Tim's support of Brett to World Peace's future, or did it have much of an impact?
It wasn't at all. I think his sway at the network. I think the executives there kind of saw the movie reviews and the shit that he was up to, and kind of felt as though he'd given up the ghost a little bit. But he definitely was not effective with his pleas to get the show taken down. It was mostly just the Bernstein article that got us shot.
Yeah, and that goes into my next question about something that I heard about Mike Lazo saying that you, or quoting that you guys are the new Tim and Eric.
Oh yeah, that was the when we were feeling when he'd first seen the first episode that we cut together, and the spirits were real high and everyone was exuberant. That was the claim that we were the new Tim and Eric.
So
which felt good to hear. I mean, it felt good to have.
Were you a fan of like Awesome Show and stuff back in the day?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the early MD stuff kind of copied or bit Tim and Eric's style. So definitely fans of it. Yeah,
he's clearly a funny guy, but it's just this whole thing put such a sour taste in literally anybody's like mouth who liked him and liked you guys. It was a really divisive thing.
It's a really weird thing to do. It's like I understand why Brett Gelman did what he did. It's because he's this outsider, like enemy, who has nothing going on except his like ability to generate attention for himself. Like that's his thing. He doesn't have talent. He doesn't have jokes. Like he's unfunny as fuck. So it's like it makes sense that he said what he said, and I'm not like mad at him.
And there's motive as well, in the sense that he wanted to burn Adult Swim on his way out, and you guys just happened to be collateral damage.
Yeah. But like Tim, like I think Tim is like very funny, and there's no reason there's no reason for him to not just make funny stuff. Like at this point, like why wouldn't you just keep making funny stuff? Why do you have to like try to engineer some situation and like be the fucking political mastermind, and especially at the cost of like doing this like underhanded thing to guys that are younger than you, and like
right.
have a style that's not, if not similar, at least like sympathetic to your style, like guys
Sure.
who are not unlike you, who are younger than you, who like respect you and would want to like work with you, or at least you know, like we're never enemies. We never said anything like negative about their shit. So like why?
Right.
It's just weird. It's like if you know, I have a lot of fans, like fans who are like in their late teens, who send me like videos they make, and they're never funny, but they're like, I get what they're doing, and I can't imagine ever being like, yo, dude, you suck. I want them to write articles about you, and I want you to be humiliated so that you have nothing.
I want you
Like
blacklisted.
Like what Tim Heidecker really wants is he wants us to be just vaporized. Like he wants us to make no money. He wants us to be destitute. He wants us to be like he like glosses over that by being like, well, I never said directly that I wanted you guys, that I wanted my fans to take a hit on you. I just said that they should do what they feel in their hearts. So I'm not really guilty of ever saying anything negative about you. Like that's the worst way to do it. Like that's the most underhanded, fucking cowardly way to do it. So his real like motivation, like what he really wants, is like so dark and weird and like alien to me. Like I could never like look at some fucking MDE fans who are making videos and be like, you guys should have no money forever. You should go, you should be in hell. You should get nothing. Yeah. Like that's so fucking strange.
It's I mean, I definitely think that. I think I did brush on this in the documentary where it was talking about how like for anyone even searching for motive alone, like taking away the fact that he did say he did energize his audience to boycott the show. He turned them in. He told them where to go. He told them to go to Turner and he said that's the only thing they care about is money. So if you've got a problem with it, and then he mentioned if you've got a problem with the show's misogyny, sexism, anti-Semitism, he labeled all of the problems that people could. He basically gave them a map to how to do it, and then try to deny it afterwards. Then you add the political stance he's got, that you can argue to the degrees that he might have, because he was very energized in the political scene in 2016. He was an activist at that particular point of his career.
Yeah.
And then you add that, and then you look at what Mike Lazo said about the fact that you guys are the new Tim and Eric, and the fact that Tim and Eric can't really, or Tim at least anyway, he's not really doing anything mesmerizing now. Tim and Eric Awesome Show is kind of old hat. Bedtime Stories didn't really last, and it's self-preservation.
The thing that gets me, like, saying that all they care about is money, and like not only disrespecting Adult Swim and Turner, and like creating this mess for them, like throwing fuel on the fire of this mess for his for his network, that like they're the reason anyone knows his name. Like without Adult Swim, if it hadn't been for Adult Swim, like Tim Heidecker would be a fucking nobody. Like how can you disrespect these people who've been feeding you for a decade plus? Like how can you and to do it like in such a public way? Like I know that Tim never went to Mike Lazo and was like, hey Mike, I got to talk to you about something that's bothering me. I wish we had more women here at the network. Like that's a conversation that never happened. Tim never did that. Like Tim took his grievances and like directly went public with them. Didn't try to fix them internally with this like his crew, like his people who had fucking, put him on for over 10 years. Yeah. Like, that's crazy. That's like if I did something to like Nick or Charles. Like that's if I was like if I just made a tweet where I was like, Nick's he cheated me on a car deal, or Nick's selling his antiques for too high of a price, and I think I have a public problem with it. And I'm not going to work. I'm not going to do any more work on videos until people put public pressure. Like Tim could have called Mike Lazo and fixed this with like a few phone calls. He could have done it. He could have done it at his prime when his show was like the prime mover at that network. Like when he had all the power, he could have said, okay, here's how it is. We're hiring a bunch of women. But like he didn't do that. He waited until his career was in twilight mode and then made this like public stand to show what a good guy he is. It's just fucked up. It's so fucking weird.
And it's just
I think it's because he got stabbed, to be honest with you.
How big a thing do you think the stabbing was in shaping Tim's current mindset?
I think that stabbing's everything. I think you can trace his entire current personality to the stabbing. Listen, I mean, and I'm not a superhero. I'll tell you what, if I went to my Hispanic neighbor's house to try to be a hero and help out the mom as this Hispanic guy is having a PCP fit. If I did that, and then if I got stabbed, and then if I ran, okay, instead of standing your ground and slugging it out and disabling this crazy knife guy, okay. Yeah, I know you're gonna get slashed up a little bit, but you know you gotta handle like a man, okay. Instead of doing that, if I ran like 10 blocks and had this guy chase me like Freddy Krueger nightmare horror movie mode. Okay, this is like a running, you run a mile in gym class. You remember how difficult that is. You go ahead and run a mile. Yeah. You got a guy following you that whole way with a knife, and he still wants you. He still wants a piece. And you take shelter in a gay bar. This is the honest to God story that he tells. I mean, I don't know how true this whole thing is, but this is the story he tells, and I don't know why you'd make this up. He runs into a gay bar and hides and takes shelter amongst the gays, and he still gets stabbed again. Okay, as he's surrounded by gay men. Okay, if that had happened to me, I would probably be singing "I'm a Cuck" and telling my audience to call the advertisers right now. I don't know how I have no experience with how something like that fucks you up. I bet it's pretty bad. Yeah,
that's traumatizing. I mean, the metaphor it plays out as well for the running away from the minority problem and then like trying to expect progressivism to help you out.
You stuck your nose in. He stuck his nose in that problem. He tried to fix it. He tried to be the hero, white knight. He probably went downstairs and he was probably like, hey man, what's going on? You having a tough time? What's going on, man? Hey, we can work this out. We can talk this out. We don't have to get violent. Let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
That's probably the angle he took on it.
No, he definitely had that. I can hear him say that already. So that's pretty much happened. So do you think there was actually any direct apart from energizing his audience to boycott? Do you think there was any direct meddling, any behind the scenes stuff with Tim and Adult Swim? Do you think he perhaps got other people involved? What do you think of
well,
that?
I know he talked to that. Who's the guy that works with Adam McKay?
Oh, shit. What's his name again?
Like Jeff Bezos or something?
Yeah, something like that.
No. Judd
Apatow. Yeah, that's him.
Oh yeah, old Judas. No, he talked to Judd Apatow and tried to get Judd Apatow to talk to the executives on his behalf or something. That's what I heard from Walter Newman. But my understanding of the whole thing is that none of that shit mattered. It was entirely the fact that Bernstein had like Jeff Zucker's email and basically scared the shit out of him with his email signature at the bottom where it says like journalist, media, official journalist.
Do you think it was just It was just Bernstein. I did see a couple of other articles that kind of just mirrored the same thing as Bernstein.
All the media people writing in is what did it. with their articles with like 6 likes, like two retweets.
He got really obsessed at one point. I read an article of him talking about some flyer on some college campus advertising a show that had like anti-Semitics, and
he might have been talking about the flyers that we've made.
Yeah, I read the flyers. He wrote out what the flyers said, but
I forgot what they said, but it was pretty serious, and I think he made it. I think he made those shoot out of printers, like unsecured printers or something. Oh my god, man!
Dude, it was the worst shit.
I can't imagine sitting there at my computer and seeing that spit out of my printer.
Yeah.
I'd probably fucking time to call the FBI in fear.
So Tim maintained that he would continue to challenge Trumpism and all the nasty things the right wing now stands for, using his own use of satire and absurdity. That was part of his thing, supporting Brett Gelman. So, given the support for Brett in a campaign that was directly against world peace, what are your thoughts on the statement, and what do you think he was trying to achieve?
I think Tim should get one of those pussy hats and start wearing it. I think he look really.
Just 24/7. He should never be able to take it off.
Is it true that his wife divorced him or not? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Is that really true?
I think so. Yeah, unless it's a really like crazy meme, but I think it's true.
It feels too good to be true. It feels like one of those things. Like I tell people, I have.
I'll tell you. It is true because I've seen a divorce, one of those divorce like slip things that you can get from the courts. It was on a subreddit or something, and it showed how much he had to give to his wife and stuff. I think it. Yeah. And
but you can fake that though. That's like something. Like if you were doing a deep fake, that's like a thing.
Yeah. It's possible, but I've heard too much that it's true to make me believe otherwise at this point. I mean,
the reason I'm wary of it is because I like doing that to people. Like when I know people hate me, I like to try to convince them that I'm dead or that I'm like a drug addict or something. Like my stepmother, I think I successfully gaslighted her into thinking that I'm doing crack.
Why?
But I like when because then you show up in a car that's nicer than theirs and they feel bad, so that's why I was doing that. But
to make them regret every one of their life's decisions in their 56 years.
So that's why the Tim divorce thing is like it seems too good to be true. If that really happened, that's the most beautiful thing.
Yeah, I kind of maybe I'm letting hope kind of navigate my thought process, but I've read a lot of things saying it's true. But it could very well be a deep fakey kind of thing, like you said. So he claims to like use satire and fight an absurdity to fight Trumpism. Do you think he's achieving that? What do you think of that statement? Satire and absurdity. Is he a satirist or?
I wouldn't know. I haven't seen. I have not been keeping up with what he's been doing. I mean, I think I would say that at the very least, without having seen what he's doing, it's that's kind of a mission that's like an impossible undertaking, because the whole point of satire is to like undermine the incumbent. It's like to subvert the powers that be.
Yeah.
Like Trump, the alt-right, white people are all like undoubtedly like the underdog in this fight. Yeah. So it's not really like satire is a weapon that like we use, and we use it like effectively. It's not really, and you can say the tables were turned. Like remember when the Daily Show first started getting popular with Craig Kilborn, and then they had like the years with Jon Stewart where it was funny.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like even if you weren't a liberal at the time, he was able to make jokes that were funny because George Bush was president, basically. Like we were living under neoconservative rule, so hearing liberal jokes was like a thing you could still do because they're the underdog, or not the underdog, but like
it was the smaller voice. They had
the right to satire. They had the right of way, satirically.
Yeah, like you say, the Bush administration, neocon, they're very establishmentish, and whereas now, like, you can't say the same thing about the left now, that they're the
now
underdogs.
the establishment is anti-establishment.
Yeah,
In a way that's like pouring acid on the structure of society.
yeah,
Like anti-establishment in a way that like Rage Against the Machine could not have understood when they were like making their video in front of the Wall Street
oh god, yeah,
building. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So yeah, just a few more. I want to talk about the "I Am a Cook" song. So Tim spent a short time prior to the cancellation of World Peace being kind of lightly trolled by Paul, and it was primarily for his anti-Trump rhetoric. And I think they ended up using your guy's show as a bit of a weapon against him rather than it be led by you, if you know what I mean. He reacted with
bad move, man. That "I'm a Cuck" song. That's the worst move I've ever seen anybody make. That's like shooting yourself in the face. I can't believe he did that. I can't. Who does he not have? He can't have anyone in his life who cares about him, because they would have told him not to do that. It's like anybody who's not asleep at the wheel with like over 90 IQ could have heard him talking about his great idea and been like, dude, you're shooting yourself in the face right now. That's the worst idea I've ever heard you say. You can't do that. If you do that, it's game over. It's going to look so bad. Like, I don't know.
One thing one thing really surprised me is like his grasp on like internet, like modern internet culture is just so bad. Like to the point that he's now still, like, I think there was videos released like not long ago on his Office Hours podcast where he's still kind of getting the same calls and he's still spurging out, he's still reacting to it the same fucking way. Like, and it's like,
damn, man. Yeah, he thinks he's on the Cinco internet. He doesn't know he's on the fucking the fucking Cyberbully Express right now.
yeah, like he literally has no, like, I'm not saying, like, I'm not like big into the 4chan, but I understand it enough to know that writing "I'm a Cook" is a terribly bad fucking idea. But like, it's oblivious. It's like boomer mentality, like, and I think that drives into the core of his resentment towards you guys. I think he sees you guys as the representatives of an online movement that he's like no longer part of.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't try writing a letter to the CEO of Cinco to get those posts pulled down.
I'm getting harassed by Cinco.
He's calling up Cinco tech support to get those people to stop talking about him.
So on an episode of Tim's Office Hours, he encouraged his listeners to contact Adult Swim sponsors and advertisers if they felt your show was racist, homophobic, or misogynistic. You'd absolutely call it a boycott, surely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not advising people to put together elaborate mail bombs and pipe bombs with nails in them and chlorine gas to attack government buildings. I'm just saying, if that's something you want to do, I can't tell you that.
And you might have the addresses handy as well, but like, you're not encouraging.
If I post the names and addresses of federal agents for people to assassinate with chlorine gas bombs and pipe bombs, I don't know. Look, it's not up to me. Basically, it's the end of the day. My hands are clean. No, I think it's pretty clear. Pretty clear what he wanted to happen with that. So
yeah.
He doesn't get to get away with that. I can't imagine the type of people who have the time or the desire to listen to Tim Heidecker's Office Hours.
No.
I mean, what's good about that? What's he going to tell you about the heyday of the Tim and Eric show? How he used to make bubbly fart noises with his mouth over a flashing green and yellow background? Is that what he talks about on that show? I don't know what he talks about. How could you listen to that guy for 2 hours though? I don't know, man.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how you generate content. I guess it's a phone-in show essentially, and I think in his own words, he says that it's a tool for like promotion and that kind of stuff. I think he said also it's him testing out Facebook Live and all this kind of stuff.
What a sick fucking waste of time that is.
Yeah, it seems really.
Goddamn.
There's a big like wave of this streaming for streaming's sake with no real like guides or no real like plot or no real arc or anything. And I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest.
It's really weird. It's like Truman Show. Everyone share this. I'm posting a video of myself taking a shit for 2 hours.
So Tim later denied the whole thing, saying it wasn't a boycott campaign. He said he was just presenting an option. So given the trolling by Tim by who he calls a shit show of MAGA deplorable people, 4chan motherfuckers, what do you think of his idea of linking all of his online abuse to your show?
I think I'm pretty proud of that. I like that I'm a character inside of his head that's torturing him. I hope it continues that way. I hope when his daughter gets fucking leukemia and dies that he blames it on me. I hope the fact that his dick fell off and he can't fuck his wife right anymore, I hope he blames that on me. It is my fault. I would love to fuck his wife. And you know what? I hope one day he takes his own life with a noose, and it's my fault too.
Yeah. All right.
That's just misdirected anger, though. Like, I understand that, you know. What am I angry about? You know, it's like when someone bumps into your car and leaves a mark and fucks up the rear quarter panel, and you can't really do anything about it. Like, what am I going to do? Throw glass bottles out the window of my truck in my Hispanic neighborhood to punish everyone equally with fragments of broken glass? I mean, yeah, I can and do that. You know, from time to time. Let me go ahead and do that right now, as a matter of fact. No, hold on. You tell me if you can hear this. There's a thing you can do if you live in the ghetto, and you know, people are polluting your life with the sound of bachata music and car horns and all kinds of problems. And here, tell me if you can hear this. You get that?
Yeah, that came through surprisingly well.
Good. So that's what I like to do. But you know, there's certain times people fuck with you and people do damage to you, and you can't really get them back. So, for example, when Tim was viciously stabbed by a Hispanic drug addict, you know, what can he do now about that? He could have fixed that on the day by fighting back, or he probably, I don't even know if he pressed charges. Like, who knows what he was probably like talking to the cops, like, he's underprivileged, don't hurt him, let him go.
Sounds like he should probably just drive around throwing glass bottles.
He should. Yeah. But now he's like, I don't know, man. If I got stabbed and did nothing about it, that would like ruin me.
It would plague my mind for a while. I
There's some people, like, if you're just kind of a you know, U.S. Marine grunt, dumb jock type guy, then something like that's probably not going to get under your skin too much. But if you're a cerebral, thoughtful, sensitive guy, like Tim is, like I am, like I'm sure you are, you know, an injustice like that is going to stay with you. Like, if I got stabbed and didn't do anything, that would probably fuck my whole life up. I'd probably feel like a pussy for the rest of my life, you know?
I'd start cross-dressing, probably.
Yeah. I'd be a fucking sissy girl. So, who knows what his, I think he's got some misdirected anger.
So, final question, and then I'll let you go because you've been an absolute legend sticking around. So, we've recently seen the leftist mob mentality play out kind of unsuccessfully with the approval of Justice Kavanaugh to the U.S. Supreme Court, and it seems like we're seeing some kind of backlash against these kind of tactics, or at least a general ignoring of them to some degree. Are you seeing any kind of backlash that might give a kind of a little window into a future for something like world peace?
Well, the Kavanaugh thing especially is heartening, joyful, positive time, because the people who've been laying down professionally and taking knee pads professionally are like discovering that all you have to do is say shut the fuck up, basically. And these people, they're like opposition will wilt. Like, they're not these big bad boogeymen who have like real physical game changing power. They just have the power of language and like the ability to like shut things down as long as people are cowardly enough to let them.
And the ability to mobilize 15,000 Guatemalans as well to storm your fucking borders.
Yeah, but all that really needs to happen is that people in the right positions need to have balls and speak the truth.
Cool, man.
And that's it. But as far as world peace coming back, I don't think
I don't think that's happening. I think television in general is like on the decline, and the time that we got on the air is kind of like the golden like window of opportunity.
Oh, I see.
For doing it. I don't think there's going to be much of a chance for that type of thing to exist mainstream ever again.
Well, you've probably heard this or heard people, it's probably annoying at this point, but we're talking about sort of streaming platforms. If I was a program director at Netflix or at Prime, like I would in an instant offer you guys as much money as you possibly need. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I mean, the stakes are still so high. I think it's probably so easy for anybody who sticks out to lose their job.
Right.
And I think that's one reason why the media in general now, like you go on Netflix and you look at what Netflix is producing, and it's like 50 shows that are like basically the exact same thing, like different setting, different slightly different premise. You know, it's this one show is about a gay couple and they get married and adopt a Latino, and this other show is about a fucking whatever. Like it's not the premises. It's like you could make a machine that generates premises.
Yeah, like a little you could write an algorithm that will just fucking do that, like AI that will just do it automatically. Like it's like how many fucking Family Guy style animation shows do you need, Netflix? Like it's crazy how many there are.
So I think anybody who's in a position at one of these places that sticks out, like anybody with creativity or the desire to do anything like artistic at one of these places probably sticks out like a sore thumb in a bad way.
Sure.
And I'm sure they're all scared shitless about losing their jobs for, looking at some woman the wrong way in the elevator or something like that.
Yeah.
But I know like YouTube has been clamping down and censoring to the point where people like SXE Phil, who's like a very milquetoast vanilla traditional YouTuber, are like complaining about YouTube's censorship problem.
Right.
And Twitch is really bad. Like Twitch is like Twitch knows, they're smart enough to know that their audience is like 12-year-olds, and so they have it so you can't have a man be shirtless on Twitch. Like you can't smoke cigarettes. You can't do, like you have to, if you're on Twitch, you're basically like an ambassador for the brand. It's like almost like a Disney type thing. It's very corporate.
You represent them kind of. Yeah, become like Twitch partner verified and all that kind of nonsense.
So I don't think the future's good for a production like World Peace.
So I mean, just like all the questions are done, but I just one thing I kind of like wanted to just know out of my own curiosity. I saw the recent tweets, the sketchy looking like you're doing with Nick, and obviously the community is a bit of a buzz about the Charles to and fro with you guys. And Charles, he had his Twitch video where he said he just needs to get himself sorted, and then he's open to doing videos again. So is that it? Is that band back together, do you think?
I don't know. It's I think Nick is down. I know Nick has to possibly go back to selling cars. He got he got a pretty good offer, so he might be doing that. But yeah, I mean, I fucking pray every day and hope to God that it gets back together. But I've been hoping that since like 2015 or 2016 or whenever this all went down.
Definitely.
So we'll see. I'll do everything in my power to make it happen.
Yeah.
I'll make sure the money's there. I'll make sure that everything's equitable. So I hope it does happen.
Yeah. I look forward to that. Like more than anything, really. So I think the community still is as energized as ever, and I think there's definitely some really good shit coming up. So Sam, thanks so much for doing this. By the way, you no idea how cool this is and how much I appreciate it. So I just want to say thank you, man.
For that excellent fucking documentary, man.
It's a pleasure, man.
You're a really talented guy, so thank you for your hard work.
Problem. No, thanks, Sam. I'll let you go anyway. I know it's late for you and you probably need to get some sleep. But again, I just want to say thanks.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Peace.